Hello and welcome to uh, my Adrenal Advantage, Post-Traumatic Growth, and Autoimmune Wellness for Healers. My name is Andreka Kofiat, and I'm hosting this webinar for 30 minutes from Missoula, Montana. So this is going to be a great webinar, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to learn a lot. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I have personal experience with post-traumatic stress disorder and autoimmune dysfunction, and I am currently a host for the Missoula Functional Forum. So the Functional Forum is put on by the Evolution of Medicine group, and I have completed Chris Kresser's Adapt Academy beta phase, and I'm certified in feng shui, iridology, graphology, bodywork, and energy reading. And are you in the right place? These are questions that you may be dealing with, and feel free to find the chat box in the upper right hand, might be actually maybe the middle. There you can write your name and where you're writing from, and actually any questions that you may have, and I'll answer them at the end. And feel free to write about what you feel regarding post-traumatic stress and autoimmune health as alternative healer. So common things that people are struggling with are fatigue, lack of getting enough rest, waking exhausted, and there's a domino effect that can lend to feeling isolated and hopeless. And there's also economic issues that occur as well. So if you feel any of these things, you are in the right place. So why the Adrenal Advantage? This is for entertainment purposes only. It's also to connect with other people. As we go on further in this webinar, you'll realize the value, how important it is to improve your connection with others and just improve the overall little details, non-heroic elements of your life. This is meant to be very solution-oriented, realistic, easy, and valuable. So those with post-traumatic stress disorders have a certain way of a kind of a unique life experience that people who grew up without it don't have. And so further confirmation of whether you're in the right place is, do you want to feel more safe in your life? Do you want to feel more confident in your walk, in your journey? Do you want to improve the quality of your life? Add things like fun and laughter. Do you want to reduce dependence on food, dependence on stimulants? Because with autoimmune illnesses, oftentimes it is followed by chronic fatigue, and for some people they may have excess thyroid activity that can look more like a manic kind of hyper active kind of a experience. But generally with post-traumatic stress and a subsequent autoimmune stuff, fatigue is a big issue, and strangely enough, insomnia plays a part in that as well. So think about your goals of what's coming to your mind right now as we're doing this webinar, of what you want for yourself in your healing process. And I just came across this information by the World Health Organization that health is more than just the absence of disease or infirmity. Health is a state of complete and physical, mental, and social well-being. So it's complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And I think it's obvious in America we're like, oh, health is physical or health is mental. And I think we're kind of lagging behind as to realizing how important the social element of health is. And I just want to take a quick look here at World Health Organization data that I came across in a separate search. And if we look at other developed countries, France is 3 and 12 for their attainment of health goals. And let's look at Uganda, 186 and 138. Okay, that's intense. The UK, 14 and 2. The United States, 24 and 32. And look at how much we spend. We're number one in expenditures, and this is where we're at. You know, we're well behind like Sweden, Switzerland, and France, and the UK. So, and I'm not exactly sure all what they're about, but I would think because there's probably more connection there, more social connection there. And so let's talk about what is possibly something that you can do, very simple, very easy, almost as some things can be as easy as turning on a light switch or off. So what are causes of stress? So we have the obvious ones, but as you are noticing, I'm talking about connections here. So lack of connection and rejection. Rejection could be one of the biggest casualties or causes of casualties of life. And this rejection can be of a loved one. It can be of somebody who you're seeking help from as well. So I think that's a really important thing that maybe if we had more connection, we could cope with rejection better. And sound pollution, that's another one that people do not realize, but in my feng shui training, ambient noises, disturbing ambient noises it's possibly like the number one thing that's not like poison that's really hard on people. So if you are if you can if you have like a refrigerator that's constantly running, or if there's something that you can do to muffle ambient noises, that's a very important and powerful stress reduction opportunity. Contact with nature. We need about 20 hours a month, if I remember correctly. Finnish study suggests in their research. So and so contact with nature. This could be your plant. This could be enjoying the sky. If you're living in New York City, that's all my nature that I really was able to access. So it's important to prioritize being outside in nature. And this could be taking your half-hour lunch outside. Traffic commute. Maybe everybody just assumes that you have to commute to work. The ideal commute for traffic is under 30 minutes. So if your traffic commute is 45 minutes, you are greatly reducing the quality of your life. So if there's a way for you to reduce it to 30 minutes, and I don't mean driving faster, but that's another one. So there's obvious ones. Abuse, you want to avoid that. Increase your financial circumstances. And this webinar is for practitioners who are dealing with autoimmune issues and post-traumatic stress disorder. And we often are dealing with financial issues. So poor diet. You're an alternative practitioner. You know about food. Festive events. That's an unusual kind of ironic thing, like getting married or a promotion or having a lot of clients, uh, like a lot of success. That can be stressful. Obviously, legal problems, injury, uh, and what's something that we don't realize is um, like if we can actually sustain a secondary effect if we are taking care of somebody who has Alzheimer's or that we're the spouse of somebody with a chronic debility. So that's an important thing to look for support regarding. Sometimes dread of change, and for somebody with post-traumatic stress disorder, that is an important point, that we can be overwhelmed by the future, the notion of the future. Time deadlines, rejection, we talked about that, divorce, and poor sleep, addiction, and alcoholism. So I have created a little, or a huge pyramid of what are the priorities for life. And I have based this on a bunch of different research that I've done, but of, of, of all that I have encountered in starting this, um, and I've been studying this kind of thing probably since like maybe 1987. Um, the number one thing, and this was brought to my attention in Cody Lundin's book, When All Hell Breaks Loose. And he's a survival teacher, like he lives out in the desert, and his motto is the more you know, the less you need. And I think that's a really genius concept. The more you know, the less things you need. Because he's one of those people who just he doesn't bring stuff out into the bush. He just figures it out, and he's been doing this for decades. Anyways, this survival expert says the first thing you need is a positive attitude. And I want to temper this because I have found that there are oftentimes people who are insensitive to the issue of post-traumatic growth. They're like, oh, just get over it, or have a positive attitude. You're just being lazy or feeling sorry for yourself. Now that could be. I mean, that can happen. But I think there's more to it, and you probably can add to this dialogue about positive attitude. But one of the revelations I had about this was like positive attitude can be about being forgiving, so or expecting positive results rather than faking it until you make it. I think that's a premise that people are heaping upon. They're just expecting, just fake it till you make it, even though you feel like you're dying. Anyways, so before even food, positive attitude is necessary for survival. So we've looked at that crazy pyramid that is kind of, I just wanted it more for that. So positive attitude is at the bottom. Then we have food, safety, light, communication, celebration, humor, play, acceptance, problem solving, then cooking. That comes like way after. Then transportation. That comes way after. And then we're getting to like meaning and purpose. So this is just a different way of looking at from basic survival, which is positive attitude. Then we have food, clothing, shelter. Then we have safety, sanitation. Then we have light. Then we have communication, trust and community. Then we get into play, love. Love is like way up there. Like we don't necessarily need love to survive, and cooking. So I just find that fascinating, and I hope you do too. So what are the effects of strain? What are the effects of that jackhammer right outside your window, or the dog yapping all day, or whatever. So jaw clenching, and so the effects of tension. The neck bone is connected to your shoulder bone, so it's important to try to adjust your environment and your lifestyle, and also adjust your body. Like if you're noticing you're clenching, try to relax. And so constant strain can lead to increased infections, digestive difficulties. If you're noticing you're sighing a lot, it's important to try to be more conscious about um, relaxation in your daily life, because that sighing is a lack of oxygen to your brain. It's an indication of that. And so just try to breathe more, but breathe only at about 70% capacity. There's kind of an error in certain practices where they're like, breathe, 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 as to maximum capacity. And the thing is, I don't know about you. You probably get stressed. I do too. And I was going to a biofeedback practitioner, and she was like, no, you want to breathe only up to 75% because more stresses you out. Because the only time you breathe so full is when you're like in some like crisis, like life or death situation. So you're triggering your body to believe that there's a crisis. So further effects of strain is like excess, having to go into the bathroom a lot, and making mistakes, and sometimes making dangerous mistakes. If you're just under so much pressure, you're missing the stoplight, or um, not putting the knives away correctly. So this is really important, and it could affect you, and it could affect your children. It could affect somebody you care about, or you can just affect somebody on the street if you're not getting enough sleep and you're falling asleep at the wheel. So further effects of strain is affecting sleep, trouble learning, and it can deteriorate into withdrawal, isolation, little interest in taking care of oneself, and so those are those effects. So why bother? Like, what about, just shouldn't post-traumatic growth heal itself, or isn't it just hopeless? The thing is, not taking care of ourselves can harm ourselves. We could just keep harming ourselves, whether it's just mentally or physically, or we might harm others just by the sheer experience of untreated um, depression, untreated trauma. And with prolonged lack of treatment, our autoimmune issues snowball. So it gets worse, and the care actually gets worse as well. There's not a lot of autoimmune literate medical providers out there, and those alternative providers that are out there are not accessible by the time that you may realize you need to see them. Like they're very busy, and they're hundreds of dollars an hour, like $1,000 an hour. So this is important to manage your post-traumatic stress disorder and your autoimmune health from the very get-go. And the thing is, post-traumatic growth is possible. Autoimmune recovery is possible, and we ought to take this opportunity, and it is our birthright to heal. So my goal is about parasympathetic awareness, and like cultivating a parasympathetic friendly lifestyle. So let me just talk about what is the parasympathetic system. So we have the autonomic nervous system, and the parasympathetic is one of the two parts. So there's the peaceful parasympathetic part, and there's the sympathetic stress response part. So peaceful parasympathetic is about rest and digest. So if you're in a constant state of sympathetic stress response, guess what's missing? Rest and digest. So if you're stressed, you're unable to sleep and you're unable to digest your food. That is so huge. So the parasympathetic friendly lifestyle is is um, is a revolution. uh, there's an epidemic of strain in life, and I want to highlight the word strain because Hans Selye, the father of stress research, he realized later on in his life that stress is a part of life. So things are stressed. The wind stresses the grass, but it is strain, chronic strain, that is the problem. So he really would have called it strain, not stress. Anyways, regarding um, health issues, modern medicine is failing us in the USA, as you could see by that World Health Organization chart. We could do a lot better, especially for people who are spending the most on healthcare. There's an epidemic of autoimmune diseases, diabetes, obesity, cancer, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease. There's an epidemic of depression and anxiety, despite all this heroic pharmaceutical care that we have. And it seems to me we're being encouraged to accept disease as the norm and as a rite of passage, like autism. Like there's like this autism acceptance movement. Um, the thing is, healing can occur and suffering can be alleviated. And I just want to touch up on post-traumatic growth. What is it? And post-traumatic growth looks like being able to recall situations, traumatic situations with healthy detachment that you can recall without overwhelm, dissociation, and that your emotional symptoms are absent or they're manageable, and that you have the capacity for trust and attachment and empathy, that it's restored, and that you've found meaning to the trauma. And it's also replacing the sense of being damaged with being valuable to yourself. And you've let go of self blame, you've let go of rumination about the topic, you're comfortable with your feelings, and you're committed to your future and responsibility for your life. So we're getting close to the end here. So I just want to recommend some very simple, low tech, highly valuable activities for parasympathetic response enhancement. So in the morning when you wake up, stretch, breathe, open the curtains or the shades to allow light in while you're just starting off your day, and praying or meditating, um, and anticipating your goals for the day. Those also are good parasympathetic uh, activities, as long as you're comfortable with it. And if praying doesn't seem like a good idea, what something that is nurturing and simple, simple kind of a brain activity. It could be just if you can handle meditation, like looking at a plant for an extended period of time, counting your breath, doing a muscle relaxation, progressive muscle relaxation technique. That is a really good way to kind of start your day with a clear slate and expect positive results. And adjust your posture. I highly recommend Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. Um, so for those of us with post-traumatic stress disorder and who are in severe situations, we can adopt a defensive hunched over posture which compresses our vagus nerve and interferes with our oxygenation, our ability to breathe. And it has just so many effects. So throughout your day, just try to put your shoulders up a little bit back, have better posture, drink clean water, have a little warm water in the morning, just to kind of cleanse your lymph. Make your beds, bathe, get dressed, check your schedule, and make sure in the morning that you have time to use the bathroom, to because oftentimes there's constipation with a lot of stress. And at the end of your day, start off by turning off your Wi-Fi, your telephone at about 8 p.m. And past 8 p.m., like watch DVDs rather than streaming videos, because that will prevent you from surfing the net. And turn off bright lights. Like if you have all the lights on in your house at 11 p.m., of course you're going to have some greater difficulty falling asleep. And do activity that's relaxing at the end of the day. Prep your clothes for tomorrow. Make sure you're prepared for the next day. So I am going to check the chat and see who's here. Okay, so if we did have a bunch of questions, this would be when I would answer them. But in the meantime, thinking of what we've discussed here today, what are your goals? So for me, like my goal is to keep on adjusting my posture and like remembering to breathe. That's what I've been working on for a long time, and it's like it's a process. And what would be my third one? Well, I guess like for me, like I have been trying to learn about like unlock my stress response, and so for me, to I just need to maybe have more of a practice of letting go, and maybe to have more of a spiritual approach about giving my stress to something bigger, to Mother Nature or whatever. So I guess those three would be my goals. So anyways, I want to thank you all so much for being here and attending my workshop. And you can find me at My Post Traumatic Growth on Facebook. And I can also be found on Wise Stamp Wise Intro at My Post Traumatic Growth. And I am available for a limited time for consults, 50 minutes, at 503-974-4848. So I want to thank you so much for joining me and for your attention. And good luck with your process. And email me, and I will keep you posted on future events. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.